Welcome to Money Monday with Benjamin Thomas. We are here at live at 5 on weekdays with Ben Thomas, and I'm excited to have him come on in and share some wisdom with us today. Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me today. And yeah, so today is about movement. It's Movement Mondays. And the goal is to transform Monday from a chaotic day of doing everything into a tightly controlled day of assessment and protection. So we're gonna go over that. This kind of an interactive exercise. You guys can butt in at any time and just tell me how you feel about something. I've got kind of a structure for today and also a few other things that I want to chime in and add. So just do you have any questions about the show or anything before we get started, Sue?
Nope, I'd say go ahead.
All right. So today we are creating metrics in our life. We're creating, a little bit of harmony. So most of the time, we get to Monday and it's just chaotic, it's just wild. So we're creating some new hard skills before opening your inbox or just answering messages from your volunteers or partners. You want to look at the raw data of your operation. So we're giving three tasks that can help you organize your day. So the cash check, you want to know the exact number in the account, not a guess or an estimate. A lot of sustainability founders, it's not about the money. Even if it's a social equity business that's about profit, most of the time they don't know exactly what's in that account. So you should check on Mondays, even if it's disappointing. If you want that number to grow, you have to manifest it. So start your day by really looking at that account. And if you don't have an account set up for your business as a 501 or LLC or whatever, Sustain Studio is slowly evolving into governance consulting. So in the future, I'll be able to help anyone in the chat who does not have the proper devices for their business. But first thing of the day, make sure you check that wallet. Why not, right? You do it for yourself, you do it for your business. And then so the second thing is the survival number. So isolating the exact bare minimum dollar amount needed to keep the physical space, the tools, or the baseline project alive for the next 7 days. And that's why it's called the survival number. Because as founders, we don't even have it at that moment on Monday. We're looking for it. We have a bill that's due for ourselves and our household and for the company, and knowing clearly on Monday what we need allows us to ask for help. When you're in, social equity, when you're in sustainability, when you're a nonprofit, people want to help you. So when you start your day on Monday and you know what that survival number is, you know that there's $800 missing in payroll, you know that you might be behind on an electric bill because now you're down to your own funds on Monday, you should have a clarity shift. So this is my third thing. So by separating the emotion from the math, you establish a solid floor. You aren't funding a massive movement on Monday morning. You are simply managing a fuel tank for the week ahead. So the same way we rush for sponsorship money when we're trying to do a big event or a huge initiative, that Monday should be reaching out to those partners, making sure that the organization is getting support, reaching out to volunteers, people of the community who can help solve problems actively. We shouldn't let anything fall only on our shoulders and put us in an issue where there's a lack or something of need. So the three things that business owners should be doing on Monday: check the account, check the expenses, and make sure that you have a realistic plan in place to find a solution for the money that's missing or to continuously grow and get beyond the status quo of making ends meet. So the next thing we're going to get into is talking about protecting your time. But I would very much love for anyone from the chat to butt in and kind of talk about your Monday morning, or if there's any, things that you're trying to overcome in terms of finding sponsors or finding money for the business, or racing through the week to kind of keep ends making meet. Is there anyone that wants to kind of speak up and talk about their morning, even if it's something good that you want to celebrate? Okay.
Well,
All
I
right,
was
so
going to say it's always a good thing to, like what you're saying, with checking in, make sure everything is as expected. That's huge because often we don't always always think of slow down, check it over, make sure you're in a good place. So you definitely are talking the right way here.
thank you. Yeah, and the big thing with that is that clarity shift. And I find a lot of people are in peril. And just being able to find, a steady moment at the top of the week where you know how you're going to find a solution, and that everything else is a breeze from there. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the boundary wall, protecting your time. So sustainability founders usually burn out because they treat their personal energy like an infinite resource. So Monday morning requires setting the operational boundary for the week. So rest is non-negotiable. Overworking yourself is not going to grow your business. It's just going to tire you out. So deciding on Monday morning exactly when the workday ends and when a personal or family time is locked down is extremely important so that you can show up and excel in both areas. The same way that you do for your business, you've got to make that priority for for your family. So there's non-negotiable hours. It may be after 6 p.m. It might be after 8, 9 p.m. But you've got to set that boundary so you can have the rest, so you can have just as a productive Tuesday as you did Monday. And then the next thing for your boundaries is your volunteer pulse. So checking in on the health and capacity of the core people helping you, ensuring that they aren't running on fumes before tasks are assigned. So your volunteers, they ain't your employees. They want to help. They're very active, but you've got to check on them the same way you would somebody's working for you full time. You might have people working for you full time, but your volunteers are people who genuinely care and they're there for you. So you've got to make sure that they're in some kind of, mass email, text, group chat, and in like a telegram or something. You keep up with everybody who's willing to volunteer in your business. Because if you do have support, you talk to them every day. But the people who, they show up, for events or they donate here and there, they need a little bit of check-in and accountability too, because you'd be surprised how much they really want to do for your business. So make sure you watch your health and then check on the health of the people who are there for you. Does anybody want to talk about boundaries too? How do you feel about your boundaries and making sure that you have time to rest and stuff? And you and Kurt, you guys are a great example of that, making time to go on the water and having this schedule for everybody to come in and out of the radio station. How do you feel about your boundaries and protecting your time?
That's a tricky one, I gotta say, because everything kind of overlaps into one another, and to just have boundaries is a wise thing. But at the same time, trying to meet the demands of all the things sometimes. So I guess that'd be kind of a question I should pop back your way: is what do you do when those boundaries start becoming overlapping? What's the best way to handle that? How do you impose good boundaries?
This is something I learned from Aaron Schroer, because we work basically 12 to 24 hours a day. And the concept is time blocking. Every hour of the day has purpose. And whether someone likes it or not, you've got to be living in that purpose in that moment. So if 6 p.m. comes about and you need to be at home, you need to be rest, we need to be off air. It's just finding time blocking and making sure that everything's structured to fit your lifestyle. And just being clear and open with everybody and saying, hey, you might be booked for noon your time, but that's noon my time, and I need lunch. So we're gonna move you to 2 p.m. your time. So a mountain stand, just being, making sure that people are allowed to be courteous to you. So it's never too assertive. It's never too aggressive to tell someone, hey, you're tearing up my calendar here. I ought to move you here to this date so I can enjoy my space and my time. And sometimes it's really difficult to do that because we've got to do an overhaul on the month. We've got to look at each day of the week. We've got to look at the month, its variables, and make sure that it's appropriate. So time blocking starts with your day personally, Sue. So, however you get up in the morning, maybe you're an early person, you're starting at 6 a.m., you know, you got, 2 or 3 hours available to yourself in that morning. And then maybe, we don't go on air until a specific time of the day. You have a rule. We're not going on air until 1 p.m. until this time, and that'll help protect some of your time and space, and that way you can have a good breakfast, a good lunch, and be able to sign off at a solid time every day. So it's called time blocking. And my life is scheduled like that. And sometimes it's hard for me to show up. And Kurt is the best with just helping me. Like that's why I have it set at 5 p.m. But he'll call me if I don't show up. He'll hold me accountable. And that is just such a blessing. And so like him having no fear of boundaries helps me have boundaries by being here and showing up on time. So that's what it's all about. Time blocking. That's the main thing. What do you think about how do you feel about time blocking? And what is the current schedule for the radio show and all that? And do you get up? Are you a morning person? I'm trying to get up
Mm.
earlier.
That would be a great goal. I am not a morning person. I'm definitely a night owl. I have a hard time that's the other end. I have a hard time at the end of the day just turning things off because there's always another thing I should do, right? There's always another thing. But that makes the mornings hard. So trying
Yes.
to block things in and schedule and be not optional, that's something that I'm working on. To be perfectly honest on that one, I think I overcommit often,
Hmm.
and that's a danger in the process here. So, but it's all good, Things come together, and that's what a team's all about. And like you were talking about volunteers, and uh, having a team effort makes a world of difference because then you can lean on one another a bit when that's needed.
Yes. I think you guys having radio hours will help a lot. Like maybe you guys are only on air from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. or kind of like a variable based thing where, certain days out of the week, we're off air or something. But I think building an itinerary for your on air hours is going to help you a lot. Cause you guys have the liberty to get up when you want. So you deserve that. If you want to get up at 10, get up at 10. You want to get up at 8, get up at 8. And that way you're rested and everybody can enjoy your presence. You know?
Well, and actually, I should show you what I can share my screen for a second. I have to add
Mhm.
in what you have going on. That's not made my master calendar yet, and that
Yeah, I wanted,
is
yeah. Because we're doing
we.
this at 5 o'clock every day. So I see this
Mhm.
as an opportunity to actively look and see, okay, am I encroaching on a boundary? Is this time that we're doing good, reasonable? So it's actually really helpful, and also helps the listeners get a good understanding of how much effort you guys put into making World of Ability work.
Yeah, because you are. So this is live at 5. Oops, live at 5 with Benjamin Thomas. And I'm going to actually just add this right in right now because we've got. Let's see here.
Thank you.
We are here. I got to go to more options because we're
And
going to
and
repeat
everyone
on
who's never done this
weekdays.
before, take note of what she's doing on the screen. This is how you set a recurring invite and create time blockers in your lifestyle to where you'll see it consistently and be able to just keep up with that metric. And more people should do this. You see how she wrote every weekday, Monday to Friday under the time. You can do that to constantly recur important tasks for yourself. So this is a great
And
example of what time blocking is and how it works.
there we go. And I was just grabbing that invite link for what we have here for this Zoom link. That's our link. So when people have access to our calendar, they have access. They can come right in here. So look at that. You're in.
Awesome, awesome. Can you add me to it?
I absolutely will. I will send that over your way as soon as we're done here. I'll get that in your hands.
Thank you so much. All right. And so the last thing we're talking about is the one blocker focus. So, figuring out how to do things one at a time. I'm a man, so I already struggle with multitasking. So, instead of writing a 20 item to-do list that triggers immediate paralysis, the day is boiled down into clearing a single administrative or operational blockage that is slowing down the entire chain. If that one bottleneck is cleared, the rest of the week automatically speeds up. That is the entire baseline structure. It's all about taking the emotional noise out of the start of the week so a leader can.
Oh, I think we just froze for just a moment here.
today, we need to do outreach for sponsors for a major event. So Aaron Schroer, he's right now building a pipeline that has each major sponsor from our vendor partners from the organizations that we work with and getting them pipelined in one position. So tomorrow I'm able to get online and speak directly to that audience. And that's the one blocker focus today is preparing us for success so we can go get that sponsor. And then tomorrow I'll be doing like a 3 hour, 4 hour call sprint and going through that whole list. And then I'll be doing that in between appointments. And that's my goals for tomorrow is to get through that list and to make it to each appointment that I have scheduled. And that makes my life so much easier because there's a million other things I could be doing with the local trade hub with Aaron. But tomorrow we're focused on getting a new sponsor. And that's kind of like how you block it off. Like you see how like I'm kind of rested and knowing exactly what I'm gonna do, knowing how I'm gonna get that success is by kind of just tuning out the noise and just looking at the bare minimum tasks so they can be even more valuable than you ever think. So yeah, just recapping what we learned today. We talked about the morning audit. So getting started, checking your cash, making sure you know what your expenses are, and having clarity on how to get there. We went over the boundary wall, which is protecting our time. So the non-negotiable rest is important. You gotta rest and you gotta set it up to where nobody can get in the way of it. The volunteer posts, treating our volunteers just like our employees, just like somebody who's holding us accountable. We want to hold them accountable because they want to help you. And then the last thing is the one blocker focus. So just making sure that you're locked in, laser focused on exactly what you want from that day and seeing it through. And today that was Movement Mondays with sustainability. Tomorrow we'll be back online at 5 p.m. And thank you so much to Sue and Kurt Roskoff for this opportunity. And it's an active exercise, and we're all going to grow together as we do this. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Always good to have you here. So join us every day, every weekday. We are here.